Welcome back. In today's episode, we speak with Nick Stammers, chairman of Mobica. In 2016, Mobica was awarded the highest business award in the UK, the Queen's Award for Enterprise for International Growth. Find out how Nick Stammers accomplished this.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast
with your host, Thor Conklin.
Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Nick lives in the Isle of Jersey, which is part of the Channel Islands. He started his first company, Telica, from scratch in 1992 with two friends. He later sold that company in April 2000 to Sigma AB and became CEO of Sigma in 2001. He grew that company from 1,000 employees to 3,000 employees in 15 countries in just 3 years. In 2004, he started Mobica. Mobica employs 1,000 employees in the United Kingdom, Poland, United States, and Mexico. They are a leading-edge SW development services company to the technology industry. In 2016, Mobica was awarded the highest business award in the UK, the Queen's Award for Enterprise for International Growth. He's a pilot. He's an adventurer. He's been to the South Pole. He's been to the North Pole. He's climbed Mount Blanc, Mount Vincent, and many others. Please welcome Nick Stammers. Nick, are you ready to execute?
Yes, I am.
Well, I was so stoked when you said that you would agree to be on the show. I know the audience is going to learn so much today. I guess we've had the opportunity. We've known each other now for 8 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think so. We met first time, I don't know how many years ago it was, but it was kind of that time frame at a seminar that we did in Palm Springs, I think it was.
Yes. I used to love that location.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nick, what is some of the best advice you've ever been given, either personally or business?
Some of the best advice I've been given and that I would give other people in business to not overcomplicate things. You don't need to have a unique idea. A lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about how they could create a new kind of innovative business opportunity. And what I've been told, and what I believe, and what I tell people is just choose something that you know that works and just do it better. You don't need to come up with something that's completely new and risky. There are lots of business ideas out there that work, that works, and all you need to do is just repeat it and just find a unique something in there that you can just do better than anybody else.
When you started Telica, what was that unique niche or that unique thing that you were trying to create?
Well, we created Telica to be a real sales-focused company. A lot of technology companies are very focused on technology being excellent or creative in a technology area, but when you're building a business, the commercial reality is you have to be able to go out and win customers and keep customers. And Telica was founded by 3 of us, and 2 of us, Paul and myself, were salespeople. We knew the difficulty and the struggles it takes to win customers. And so from the very beginning, we built a business that was centered around customers and a strong sales capacity.
What's your biggest weakness in business?
My biggest weakness personally is probably not being organized enough.
Interesting. Give me some details. Explain that a little bit.
I guess I'm kind of an ideas person, and I start a lot of things off, but my biggest weakness is following through, following up on every little detail that I do, which is why I surround myself with a great team which can pick that stuff up from me. If I get my teeth into something, then yes, I'm organized and pick things up. But I guess it's the continuity. Sometimes I fail to to finish everything that I start. So it's not so much the organization, but more kind of following through and the continuity on a lot of things.
Well, it's interesting because you started the company from scratch in 1992, and then you sold it in April of 2000. When you sold it, what were the revenues at that point?
We employed about 120 people at that time. We had profits. It was around 12 million sterling, and profits were around 4-5 million at that point.
Wow.
Profit before tax, yeah.
So, and the reason I bring that up is you just told us that, being organized is something that you struggle with, but yet you've taken a company from scratch, built it up to 12 million pounds sterling, sold it, and the key, it sounds like, was the team that you had around you.
Yeah, I think the team that you surround you with is so important. So many people fail to delegate, they fail to cooperate. And one of the key things that we had was a really good core team of about 4 of us in the end. And we were all kind of diverse set of skills, but we had, the ability to pull through in all kinds of situations. We really worked together and complemented each other, both emotionally. And some of us were up when others were down. We were able to pull through those hard times, but we were also, we also had different skill sets. I was very much a people person, a manager. Paul was very strong on sales and creativity and sales process. To get together, we really complemented ourselves.
There's a lot of people out there that have partners and struggle sometimes with the partnerships. What's your secret recipe of how to create a successful partnership?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think you've got to pick somebody that you're going to be happy to spend a lot of time with, and that you're able to have total respect and trust with each other. If there's any cracks there, they'll soon surface. You're going to rely on that person or those people to be there in the darkest times, as well as celebrating in the success. And be under no illusion. You need people that are there watching your back. They're like a brother or a sister, a mother or a father. You have to be there and stand up and be available for them also. Picking the right person and picking somebody who will challenge you, will not just agree and kind of say what you want them to say, but people that will do the right thing and say the right thing. And those complementary skills that you don't have, you need to put together a team that has the complete package. I have a lot of weaknesses and recognized a lot of those weaknesses fairly early on, and made sure that I surrounded myself with the people that have all the right skills.
I like that. Well said. I had several partnerships, and I think I lacked some of those selection processes or the skills involved in that.
I would just like to add on that, sometimes sometimes it doesn't work out. And I think recognizing when it doesn't work out is really, really important. And, I think as long as you're always open, honest, and reasonable in your relationships, then, it's easy to, well, not easy, but it's much easier to decide and then separate and kind of go in different directions. And, that's happened to me in the past. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, and you have to recognize that and move forward.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, if you woke up tomorrow and you found yourself completely broke, what would you do?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer because, a lot of the things that have driven me in my life have led me to create a situation where I totally protect myself.
Yeah. And I know that about you.
So,
well, we're just playing a game. No need.
So, but let's playing a game.
And the reason is that our listeners, many have been very successful in life in certain stages, and then one day woke up and found themselves the real estate bust and found themselves broke the next day. And they've had to pick themselves up. And I'd like to share, if you found yourself, what would you do?
Well, the only reference that I have is that I have started out in that way. I mean, I came from a very modest background, and it was by growing up in an environment where there were limited resources and a feeling that in some way I was less important than people that had a lot of resources. And, the thing that drove me, which is what I call my fuel in those early years, I wasn't completely aware of what it was, why I was being driven, but I would be coming back to that. I would be coming back to that fuel to kind of figure out what it was that I really wanted and why I needed to get there. That was what drove me in the beginning, and that to some extent that continues to drive me. And I would find something, everybody's got something that they can do that can earn them money. And in order to go forward in a business, you need some resources, you need some money, you need some ideas. And I would do what I did at the beginning, which was take the first step, do something that worked, repeat it and do it better and bigger and better, and just keep taking one more step at a time. And whether that was just going and getting a job, getting a promotion, getting another promotion, thinking about how I could go out and do something on my own, doing that, making that more successful. It's all about taking lots of small steps. You've seen Thor. I think some of the things I do outside of my working life is climbing mountains, and it all comes down to the same thing. Every mountain is climbed by taking a first step. And so if I found myself tomorrow with no money, broke, no job, I would find a way to find a job, whatever it was, whether it's working in a bar or a restaurant or, I don't know, cleaning. I spent a lot of my younger years as a professional cleaner, believe it or not. And I would do something and I would be good at it and I would become outstanding in whatever I did, and I would build on whatever it was I had around me. Whatever resources I had, I would use them to my advantage and just take one step at a time.
Let's talk about the mountain climbing. The most dangerous part of a mountain climbing is the descent. What happens, and you've seen this in business, I mean, you've been at the top of the peak in business. What keeps you there, and how do you stay sharp?
You mustn't get complacent. You mustn't believe in your own success story. There are always challenges around the corner. I have this phrase in my head that comes up a lot of the time, which is, and this too shall pass. When you're struggling to get to where you want to be, just by saying that to yourself, that the struggles, you will overcome them. But I also remember when I'm at the top, that success and that glory will also pass. Things come along in waves, and it's very easy to get complacent and to think that you are untouchable, that you are successful because you are brilliant or whatever it is. You might start to create all these different meanings around that, and you've got to be careful that you don't believe too much in stuff which isn't so real. You've got to remember how you got there and keep looking to see how you can improve and grow and become more.
Tell us a few of the lessons that you've learned along the way when things haven't gone the way you wanted them to.
I think you've got to remember what your vision is, what you ultimately want, because when you hit a low point, you've got to remember why you're there and where you're going. You've got to remember what that fuel is that's driving you, why you must ultimately get to that success. Think about your the vision for your business, and just keep it in mind. Don't give up on your dreams. Just keep pushing forward for it. A lot of people just give up, and rather than kind of try again and fail, and try again and fail and try again and then ultimately succeed, a lot of people give up and go to where it's easy with, just as kind of a safe environment, maybe a job with less responsibility rather than having big responsibility for other people's careers and your own destiny.
Wow. What's some of the worst advice you've ever been given in business, and you didn't realize it at the time, but you took it and then found out later that it was not good advice?
Couple of things. Something I already mentioned. People say that you need to have a unique idea. A lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, Nick, you're in IT. I've got a great idea for a new app." And it's like, well, why? To become successful in a lot of those things, it's a bit like buying a lottery ticket. It's so random. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't become successful like that, but you do not need a unique idea to become a successful business person or business owner. You just need to choose a business that works, whether it's a franchise of Starbucks or something, or the business that you've been working in for 20 years. Why couldn't you leave that business and set up a competing business that does exactly the same thing, but you can do it better because you're more driven, you've got some unique advantage, you found something extra that you can personally add for those staff or for those customers or for that product or whatever it is. So you do not need a unique idea. That was some bad advice that I was given. Some other advice is you need a detailed plan. No, you don't need a detailed plan. Yes, it helps. Of course it helps. But probably much more important than that, as I've already said, you just need to take that first step. A lot of people fail to start a business because they spend a lot of time thinking about how they're going to do it. They look for absolute certainty about how they will get their outcome without any risk or minimal risk. And sometimes you've just got to accept that there is risk, that you don't have all the answers, that no matter how long you spend thinking about your plan, you're never going to get the total solution. So you've just got to start, and particularly if you are copying or modifying a business that you know well, then you already know a lot of the detailed plan. It can exist in your head, in your vision. I'm not saying that you should ignore detailed financial planning or any of that, because of course you need to think about those things, but it's much more important to know where you're going and to take that first step.
Nick, you realize that the people that you spend time with greatly affects who you're going to become. Who are you spending time with nowadays?
I spend time with people like you, Thor.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, seriously, I value the input from kind of independent people from outside of my kind of daily life. And, I have 3 people that I spend sessions with once a month in a mastermind group. We talk about our lives and things that we're achieving and any struggles or achievements that we have, and we learn from each other, and we support each other in that. And I find that group very inspirational. And I also have a personal coach who helps me organize my thoughts and my plans in my life across different aspects of my life. And I also have some really, really, really good friends, and I choose my friends carefully. And my friends are so important, and we spend time together and vacation together from time to time, and take care of each other through phone calls and the like. So I think, friendships, peer group, mastermind groups, and coaches are all important people to support you in your progress in life and in business.
Just like picking our friends and who we spend time with, what we say yes to is extremely important. How do you decide what you're going to say yes to?
Well, usually I know what I want. And if somebody comes to me with something that is aligned with what I want, then that's kind of easy to say yes to. I'm not waiting for things to come to me and be reactive. So generally, I'm not very receptive to kind of those random things coming to me. I'm much more proactive in shaping and pushing my agenda, and it's probably more likely to be me going to other people saying, hey, let's go do this, let's try that, let's build this together.
Yeah, it was funny. Just yesterday we were recording, and I said, look, every day you're going to execute somebody's agenda. Yours or somebody else's. You decide.
Yeah.
Being a peak performer is all about execution. Think of those people that you know that you consider peak performers. Some have had great plans. Some are really smart. Some just have natural talent. And others are highly educated. But the one thing that they all have in common, and I don't even know who you're thinking about, they all know how to execute. If they can't execute, they would not be considered a peak performer. Everybody has dreams, but peak performers actually execute them. This applies on the field, in athletics, or in the boardroom. If you're a business owner, a coach, an entrepreneur, or a corporate executive, and you're frustrated and tired of knowing what to do, but you just can't seem to get it all done, or your results are inconsistent, or maybe you're really good at execution, but your team doesn't know how to execute. Are you missing budget? Are you working 80 hours a week and it seems like you're just banging your head up against the wall every day? I know I've been there. Are you not making the kind of money that you want and deserve? I have a program that just might be the answer for you. This program is not for everyone. We go deep, we get raw, we get real. But if you're truly committed to mastering execution and for the first time truly being able to execute on what you know, as opposed to just trying to figure out more information and looking for that secret, we will teach you to become a master of execution. We'll teach you the science of getting things done. Simply take your phone and text the word BESUMMIT, one word, to 41411. That's Business Execution Summit. The keyword, BESUMMIT, that's what you text, and text it to 41411. Remember, it's not what you know. It's not even who you know. It's about what you're able to execute. That's what truly matters. Don't let another month, another quarter, or another year slip by with just average results. Text today. That concludes part 1 of our interview with Nick Stammers. Please tune in later this week for part 2. Thank you for listening. If you haven't already done so, please head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Also, please share this with family, friends, coworkers, or anyone that could benefit from this information. To make it very easy to share these episodes, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode that you want to share, and you can post it to your timeline. You just might be helping one of your friends on Facebook by sharing it on your page. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. The email is info@thorconklin. While at the website, please sign up for our weekly newsletter with additional tricks, tips, tools, and psychology on how to be a peak performer. Remember, these episodes are anywhere between 6 and 35 minutes and are meant to be consumed during dot time doing other things. Until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.